So today is Saturday, June 8th, which means that we are slowly but surely creeping up to Nintendo's mystery reveal date for their upcoming June 2024 Nintendo Direct. This, of course, is the Nintendo Direct that they confirmed to us over a month ahead of time in their recent tweet during their investors briefing, where Furukawa took to Nintendo's Japanese Twitter account to say, hey, we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 in the next year, and we're going to be giving you a Nintendo Direct in June, so please look forward to that then. And there's been a lot of building hype since then because we've all been waiting for some semblance of an idea of what the rest of their 2024 is going to look like, for all of the obvious reasons we know. You know, we're halfway through the year. We've been dealing with, for the most part, a lot of remasters and remakes and re-releases of old games. Clearly, the Switch is phasing itself out. We now know the Switch 2 is coming into our faces and our brains sometime relatively soon. And so what does Nintendo do with the current 2017 Switch for the rest of 2024? And how does that fit into their reveal of the Switch 2 and whenever that thing is going to come out? I've theorized for a few years now, and I still feel that it's true, that Nintendo is dancing a very fine line between releasing new entries in their IPs on the current Switch as opposed to saving them to be Switch 2 titles. Obviously, there could be a lot of cross-gen titles kind of mixed in this conversation as well, but by and large, I feel like with the exception of Metroid Prime 4, which I will always come back to, most of their IPs, they're going to want new entries to be ready to be prepared to support and make people excited for the Switch 2 whenever that thing launches. So, with this Nintendo Direct happening sometime in June, whether it's this upcoming week or in a few weeks, what does that mean for what they're going to show us in the Nintendo Direct? And I think the thing I wanted to focus on today is, while we should be very excited for the Direct, and I am very excited, we might also want to temper our expectations a little bit as well. Now, in my last video, I talked about why I am definitely feeling that this next June Direct, the one we're going to see this month, will probably be the final Direct that is focused solely on the current Switch. Because I think between this June Direct and the next traditional Direct, whenever that happens, I think they will have revealed to us the Nintendo Switch 2, so in theory, that traditional Direct would also feature Switch 2 titles, as well as stuff coming to the current Switch. And so, if we continue down that line of thinking, and we assume that this June Direct will be the final Direct focused solely on the Switch, does that mean we should get excited for huge reveals? Or, like I said, should we temper our expectations? Because how many huge titles would they even want to reveal for the current Switch? And so that's why I personally lean on we should temper our expectations. Now, the big caveat for me, and I know this is stuff I talked about in my last few videos as well, but I want to revisit a lot of this. The caveat for me is that I think there is a phenomenal chance we're going to still see Metroid Prime 4. Not just Metroid Primes 2 or 3 remaster, which I do also think are on the table, but I think Metroid Prime 4, you guys, more than a 50% chance we're going to see it. So that becomes something we can be excited to see as far as big announcements. But for the most part, I don't think we should be looking for a new Animal Crossing or even a new Fire Emblem, 3D Mario. I don't think those games are going to be coming to just the current Switch. And if they're going to be coming cross-gen, I think Nintendo will want to wait to reveal them for the Switch 2 and then also announce that they're going to come to the current Switch. So I think our biggest possibility as far as a huge reveal is going to be finally seeing Metroid Prime 4, which will be game-changing, industry-shattering, headline-grabbing. It'll be the biggest news of like the first 6 months of the year without question. But other than that, I think we're going to be looking at ports of old generation games from the Xbox 360 or the Wii or even more GameCube ports, which is fine. We might get the Zelda games, we might get Primes 2 and 3, Metroid Samus Returns, and we'll probably get a bunch of other indie games and maybe like a small tier first-party Nintendo franchise, but nothing that's going to necessarily blow us away. So again, I want to remind you guys, I'm not trying to leak anything I've heard. I'm not trying to say that this is a rumor or anything. I never do that stuff in my videos. You guys know that. I remind you of that all the time. I'm just a fan making predictions, regardless of the stuff I've heard behind the scenes. This is really just, what does Rob think and predict and feel will happen? And this is what I think. Metroid Prime 4, like I said, I think is our best shot at something industry shattering. Other than that, we're going to be getting smaller tier games and ports and re-releases and indie stuff, and nothing wrong with that, but that's why I think we need to not go into this thinking this June Summer Direct, the one focused on the Switch, is going to have 4 megaton announcements and it's going to be amazing. That I just simply do not think will happen. And so the next question you have to ask yourself is, will that be okay? Will you, the person watching this and listening to me blabber on about this, will you be okay if this Nintendo Direct doesn't have 4 to 7 amazing, knockout, crazy, huge reveals? Because I do think, and I might make a video about this soon, I think that as a general community and a fandom of people who play games and follow the industry and follow these companies, I think we maybe need to start recalibrating what we expect out of any video game showcase, whether it's a Direct, whether it's a State of Play, whether it's a Summer Games Fest or a Game Awards. I think that we've all gotten a little lost in the sauce, and I think that everyone, as far as the larger video game gamer fandom community, we're way off base. Everyone's all over the place, and I don't think that we understand really what we're supposed to expect in terms of things to get us crazy excited. And so that's why I think tempering our expectations for this is smart, and to expect maybe 1, maybe 2 things to be pretty big news, but we're not going to get Super Mario Odyssey 2. We're not going to get the next major Zelda game. I mean, I've said it 3 times already. The next big Metroid game, I think, is the only possibility. And so, will you be okay yourself, to go back to this point here, if we just get like a C plus B minus tier Direct that's really just about, here are the last couple of things that we're going to be dropping on the Switch in 2024 because we've already told you Switch 2 news is coming. And so this is kind of how we're just padding out the back half of this year because we're phasing out of the Switch and into the Switch 2. Are you going to be okay, or are you going to be someone who loses your mind and says, that's a D minus, screw you Nintendo, that was a shit Nintendo Direct and I hate you forever? I hope you're not going to be that way, because I really expect this to be just a mediocre Direct unless we get Prime 4. For me, Prime 4 will make this the best Nintendo Direct ever. If this is 37 minutes of utter crap and I hate everything I see, but then we get 2.5 minutes of Metroid Prime 4 at the end, 10 out of 10 Direct for me, because I am a Metroid fanboy. So I think, if we get a C plus Direct and there's like 2 or 3 things that I'm like, those are fun, that's cool, I'll play a Kid Icarus port, I'll play, I don't know, some Wii game remaster or something, or some Xbox 360 port of a game that I've enjoyed. If that happens, I'll be excited. If we see like the Beyond Good and Evil 20th anniversary thing revealed in this, that'll make me really excited. So I'm okay with that kind of stuff. I'm not expecting this to be huge because Nintendo is phasing out of the Switch and they're preparing for the Switch 2. This Direct, unless they surprise the hell out of us, and maybe I turn out to be wrong here, but this Direct, to me, I don't think is meant to blow us away. So let's all think about that. Let's consider that that could be what this Direct is supposed to be. It's not supposed to change the fates of the Nintendo Switch. They're not trying to completely alter their projections of Switch sales based off of huge announcements in this Direct. I just don't think that's the case. It's going to be just an okay 30 to 45 minutes, 1 or 2 decent things. If we're lucky, Metroid Prime 4, and that's it. So don't go into this expecting 5 megaton first-party Nintendo games. That's not what this Direct is going to be.